Good morning, guys. I hope that the feedback that I gave you on your argumentative theses and topic sentences was super helpful yesterday. If you still have not turned in your argumentative thesis, I really need you to turn that in by the end of today so that you can really start working on this introductory paragraph, which is what we're talking about today. So when it comes to doing an introductory paragraph for any type of paper, we always want to use the ABC method. So this, again, is the very first paragraph that you're going to have in your paper. So let me just go ahead and start the PowerPoint presentation. So we want to use A, B, C. And maybe you guys have heard of this before, but this is the acronym that's going to help you to remember the important or must-have components of an introduction paragraph, and they should be layered like A, B, C. So A stands for attention getter or hook, B stands for bridge or background, and then C stands for your claim or thesis statement. So some of you guys don't even have to worry about this part anymore because you've already created it based off of what you've shown me today and yesterday. So let's see how we can construct these. So I'm not going to talk about these in that order. You're going to learn about them in the order that is the simplest to write your paragraph. Unless writing it in ABC order works for you. But again, I'm going to show you the easiest thing to do first. And of course, that is your claim. Because we can't create an attention getter or background information without having a strong claim or thesis statement. So in an argumentative essay, the claim is the thesis. It's the argument you are making. So you need to take a solid position on the topic. Every sentence in the essay should relate back to the thesis statement / claim. That's why I had you go ahead and write your topic sentences so you could go ahead and see what your body paragraphs are going to say or expand upon with your thesis statement. The thesis statement should be the last sentence of the introduction. Again, this is A, B, C, so C would be the last. Thesis statements should be statements, not questions. Some of you guys had this issue with what you sent me yesterday. So if I did give you feedback about not creating questions, make sure that you fix those before you start working on your introductory paragraph. Thesis statements, lastly, should not contain first or second person pronouns. Again, this is an issue that I saw yesterday. So make sure that if you have I, you, or me in any of your statements, including your topic sentences, get rid of them and just then leave the statement as is. So here is one for an informative essay. I think I took out the wrong one. There we go. The argumentative essay, because we've already done informative. So in an argumentative essay, the thesis statement takes a position. It is the answer to a question. So some of you guys were asking me if you could pose your thesis statement as a question. No, you cannot, but it can be an answer to a question. So let's look at this. Here's the question. What should schools be doing to change students' attitudes about reading? Your claim or thesis could be, secondary schools should be implementing more choice reading that focuses on reading for pleasure as a lifelong hobby. And as you can see, we already do that in our class. So this is a strong thesis because we have the word should, which we talked about this last week, and it's a stance that you can take and have two different opinions on. So once you have your claim, which most of you already do, then we can work on that attention getter or the hook, if you've heard it that way. There are a lot of ways that you could use an attention getter. I've actually gotten rid of some of the types that you can have just because I didn't want this presentation to be too long. But know that there are about 3 other ways that you could use an attention getter. I primarily picked the ones that I saw that you guys could use, again, based off of what I saw in your thesis statements. So let's take a look at what an attention getter is. So it may be helpful to understand that for the rest of this essay, or for the rest of this PowerPoint, we're going to be using the fact that this is our thesis, which is middle and high school students need to be given more time to read for pleasure during the school day. So a lot of your examples are going to look like that. So how you want to construct an attention getter is to first off begin with a hook that will grab the audience's attention. Hooks need to be interesting, surprising, concise, and relevant. They need to be connected to your topic. And then attention getters are usually between 1 and 3 sentences. If it's longer than 3 sentences, you're probably pushing on being too wordy, so let's keep it within that 1 to 3 sentence range. So here are some examples. Begin with a related and memorable quotation or precept. So if there's a famous quote that has to go with your topic, go ahead and use it. As long as it's connected to your thesis, then that's a good attention getter. And I'm not going to read every example because you guys can just read them as you're listening to me. Another type of attention getter would be to begin with a concession. So what a concession is where you are agreeing to the fact that the other side, or there might be another opinion about this. So let's look at this one just for context. It's true, reading is not the only healthy hobby that exists in the world, yet teachers across the nation place a heavy emphasis on literacy. Have they forgotten to account for differences in learning styles and interest? While this might be the case, it's more likely that teachers know something some students do not. Reading is the key to staying in shape mentally and emotionally. Books are therapists, friends, travel companions, and more. So this is something that you could use as an attention getter. Another one would be to begin with a short anecdote or narrative. So an anecdote is literally like a little story, because that's what a narrative is too. So you're just giving some maybe fictional context or something of that nature to introduce or hook your topic. So as you can see here, we have our Annabelle running in with her mouth agape, saying that she didn't know that Christopher Columbus rode over on the cauliflower, and then she realized that maybe because her understanding is skewed, that her excitement had an impact on her reading. And that's essentially where we get that bridge to your thesis. Another one is with an interesting fact or statistic. We covered this when we went over informative writing, because I told you that you guys could also use that attention getter with a fact or statistic. So you're kind of already familiar with this one, but you can go ahead and look at this example if you need to. Next one. Begin with relevant background material. Again, we covered this in the informative essay as well, but I just wanted to show you that you can also use background material as your hook to kind of show your reader that there is context for what you're talking about, and that within the climate of your topic, that there might need to be a little bit more background information in order for it to be more argumentative. So again, you can see that in this one by them talking about the adopted textbooks that are aligned to Common Core, but that those textbooks don't always contain high interest text that are engaging. And so again, this supports the author's thesis that they need more choice reading because these high interest texts are not necessarily what the readers are choosing, but more so what's being forced onto them. And then it ends with this question of, does reading for pleasure have a place in 21st century schools? And your thesis would answer that. Another one would be by stating a long-term effect or effects without immediately stating the cause. So let's look at this one. Imagine it's 2050. Technology has replaced print books. Video games and smartphone apps have replaced reading as a hobby. Crime and poverty have increased, and illiteracy is at an all-time high. Is this the future of our children? So you can present a problem that might occur if whatever you're arguing for does not happen. And our last one, you can simply begin with a definition of a term that's important to your essay. So for instance, literacy is defined as the ability to read and write. An individual's literacy competency directly correlates with his or her success in school, in the workplace, and in life. Concise, short, sweet, boom. So those are the different ways that you can create an attention getter. Last thing that you would work on, but the second thing that you would put is the bridge or the background info. So this follows the hook with background information. The bridge connects the ideas in the hook to the idea in the thesis statement. That's why it's called a bridge. Bridges provide context but not evidence. So you should not have any citations in the bridge. Those we're going to save for your body paragraphs. The bridge is the writer's opportunity to shape the reader's view in preparation for the thesis statement. So let's look. You can explain the debate or controversy. Reading for pleasure has become somewhat of a hot button topic. Teachers are looking for ways to engage teenagers in meaningful choice reading activities, but the pressures of standardized testing have some stakeholders leery of sacrificing the instructional time. And they got that from National Reading. So this is giving just a brief explanation, again, not going full into the debate or giving evidence for that thesis statement. You can also provide historical background. So what are maybe some of the implications that we have gotten from history that what you're trying to argue is correct? So schools have always incorporated reading instruction, but recently the focus has begun to shift to like from whole class text to individualized, differentiated reading instruction. Another type would be to shape the reader's opinion by appealing to emotions. So you can use emotional connections to take your attention getter to your thesis statement. And for this, we can see that many schools currently implement mandated reading programs that take student choice and enjoyment out of the reading process. Sometimes students are asked to take quizzes after reading required novels, and the assessments do not always reflect the conversation a student had with a book, focusing on trivial details instead. This piece right here is what makes it emotional. Also using words like obligation or chore, disconnected. You can use emotional terms like that. And then finally, we put it all together. So again, we want to layer it with A, the attention getter, B, the bridge, and then finally C, your claim or your thesis statement. So you want to make sure that you incorporate transitional words, phrases, and sentences where necessary so that your hook, bridge, and thesis flow logically together. Here is something important. Try to keep your introduction paragraph concise. So 5 to 8 sentences is a good range. This is the expectation that I'm going to have for you. So whenever I get your introductory paragraph on Friday, make sure that it's at least 5 to 8 paragraphs long. Don't incorporate any specific ideas in the introduction paragraph that you plan to use as supporting details in one of your body paragraphs. So I should not see any of your topic sentences inside of your introductory paragraph. Leave those for your body paragraphs. If you do include research, make sure that you cite it and add it to the works cited page. Next week, whenever we get into body paragraphs deeper, I'm going to reiterate how to do an MLA works cited page, so don't worry too much about that just yet. And then keep the introduction broad, but use it to hook your readers. They should want to keep reading and clearly understand what your essay is about. And so here's an example. According to Pi Beta Phi's Reading Initiative's fact sheet, out-of-school reading habits of students have shown that even 15 minutes a day of independent reading can expose students to more than 1 million words of text in a year. Exposure to new vocabulary words have been proven to increase intelligence in test scores, yet reading for pleasure has become somewhat of a hot topic. So this right here would be our attention getter, because this is giving a quote or a fact. Then we have this transition to our bridge by giving us some background information, which is what we saw in earlier. And then we have another transitional statement, still the research is clear, and then this is the claim. So again, we have, oops, let me go back. A, attention getter, B, our bridge, and then C, our claim. And then you have successfully created an introductory paragraph. So as you go to start working on these, this is the model that you need to use. This is the expectation that I have for you to use. And so this is what you are going to do. Write your own introduction paragraph using the ABC graphic organizer, which if we were in class, because I was anticipating doing this in class, but you will just break it down yourself by writing A and then B and then C and put it in a Word document and send it to me. And again, this is due on Friday, I believe. Let me go ahead and recheck. I believe it is Friday. It is, oops. It'll be due on Tuesday morning. I'm sorry. So you have plenty of time to be working on this. So if you want to just go ahead and start making your introductory paragraph, you are more than welcome to. You can send it to me and I'll give you feedback. And then if you have any questions, if something in this video didn't make sense, if you need further clarification, please reach out to me, message me on Remind. If we need to do a Zoom conference so that I can help you, I am more than happy to do that. If not, that's it, and I wish you good luck as you start your introductory paragraphs. See you later, guys.